In this podcast episode, Joe Rogan hosts actors Matt Damon and Ben Affleck for an in-depth conversation spanning a range of topics. The discussion covers their personal experiences, reflections on filmmaking and acting, the changing landscape of the film industry, doping and physical demands in athletics, authentic storytelling, the impact of media and public perception, and the cultural significance of movies and sports heroes. Damon and Affleck share insights into their craft, the challenges and rewards of their profession, and broader societal observations. The episode opens with an anecdote involving a visit to a dental office in Brentwood, where one of the guests unexpectedly ran into Hunter S. Thompson. This colorful encounter involved Thompson swearing loudly while undergoing dental procedure and partaking in ethyl alcohol provided as a sort of moonshot. The guests express admiration for Thompson's distinctive voice and literary work, notably Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and Hell's Angels, with Damon remarking on how the books influenced him. The wild, adventurous lifestyle of Thompson embodied in his writing left a lasting impression on them, symbolizing authentic, raw storytelling that continues to inspire. The conversation shifts towards the transformation of the film industry from theatrical releases to streaming platforms. Damon and Affleck discuss how film-going once was a central social experience akin to a weekly ritual, but has since diminished due to the rise of streaming services like Netflix, YouTube, and TikTok. They note the challenge in competing for audiences' attention in an era of abundant on-demand content. The industry responds by modifying film structure, putting big action sequences early, repeating plot points more overtly, to hold viewers who might be distracted by phones. They acknowledge that while streaming offers convenience and often better home viewing technology, there remains an irreplaceable communal and immersive experience in theaters, especially for visually spectacular films. This dynamic affects not only audience behavior, but storytelling and production decisions as well, creating tension between traditional cinematic craftsmanship and the evolving demands of viewers. The guests reflect on how television has improved dramatically since the days when transitioning from TV to film was considered a step up due to quality and format limitations. They credit shows like Succession, Ozark, and experimental series such as Adolescence, which uses long, single-shot episodes, with raising the bar on narrative complexity and performance quality. This is contrasted with earlier TV, which was constrained by commercial breaks, censorship, and lower budgets. They emphasize that streaming has fostered risk-taking and innovative storytelling that challenges the notion of cinematic superiority. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck discuss their efforts to change the traditional compensation model in filmmaking by introducing profit-sharing bonuses for crew members when a film performs well financially. They stress the importance of rewarding below-the-line workers, camera operators, grips, electricians, whose contributions are integral to the film's quality. Their new model encourages investment and commitment from the entire team, fostering a collaborative environment necessary for achieving creative excellence. They highlight how trusted, regularly collaborating crews create a productive atmosphere benefiting the artistic process. The duo also shares anecdotes about leadership on set, emphasizing the value of creating a space where actors and crew feel safe to experiment and contribute. They highlight that genuine collaboration and respect among all team members directly influence the difference between good and great films. The topic of artificial intelligence and its potential impact on film production and the entertainment industry arises. Both guests see AI as a tool rather than a replacement for human creativity. They caution that current AI systems produce generic and unreliable content, lacking the nuance and originality that human artists bring. While AI may offer cost-saving advantages, such as creating virtual locations or speeding up effects, they insist that storytelling and performance derive from lived experiences and emotional authenticity that machines cannot replicate. They discuss concerns related to using digital likenesses and AI-generated performances, noting existing legal protections around image rights and the evolving role of guilds in regulating the technology. Ultimately, they foresee slow, incremental AI adoption rather than radical disruption. Delving deep into acting techniques, the guests describe the magic of great performance. the ability of skilled actors to transport themselves and the audience into the reality of the characters without over-reliance on memorized lines. They favor organic, spontaneous interactions on set rather than rigid adherence to scripted dialogue. This approach is likened to shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm, where improvisation captures the awkward and unpredictable rhythms of real human conversation. They note the intense energy and hypnosis that occurs when actors genuinely listen and respond to each other, creating moments of emotional truth. Sharing personal experiences, they recount how vulnerability and trust within the cast and crew allow actors to take risks that elevate the work. The importance of research and authenticity in filmmaking is highlighted using examples from past films depicting crime, military operations, and other specialized worlds. The guests underscore the value of learning from real people, such as police officers, ex-convicts, or combat veterans, to accurately capture nuances that resonate with audiences. Specific stories include consultation with actual narcotics teams for a police drama and insights from individuals with criminal backgrounds that debunk stereotypes. This grounded approach is credited with creating immersive narratives that feel believable and compelling without resorting to contrived or spectacularly unrealistic moments. The conversation turns to the history of Miami during the 1980s drug boom, describing its profound influence on American culture and law enforcement. The guests recount shocking statistics and anecdotes about rampant money laundering, corruption, and violence, including stories about planes being deliberately sunk to smuggle cocaine and the staggering number of banks tied to illegal funds. They find the period both mesmerizing and terrifying, explaining how it shaped societal narratives and cinematic portrayals of crime in America. The environment provides an intense, morally complex backdrop for storytelling focused on law enforcement and crime. The guests speak about how films and actors have personally moved them and the wider public, citing examples like Darren Aronofsky's The Beast in Me, Dwayne Johnson's dramatic work in The Smashing Machine, and Matt Damon's admiration for Emily Blunt's performances. They discuss the emotional resonance of truthful acting, how it brings empathy, and connects viewers with human experiences, often prompting reflection and inspiration. They also explore the tension actors face in balancing blockbuster roles with more nuanced personal projects, highlighting the desire for artistic fulfillment alongside commercial success. The discussion compares the pursuit of excellence in acting, filmmaking, and athletic competition. They acknowledge that greatness often involves sacrifice, struggling with personal setbacks, damaged relationships, and relentless pressure. Using examples from UFC fighters like John Jones, boxer Mike Tyson, and NFL quarterback Tom Brady, they analyze the physical and mental demands at the highest levels of sport, including the limited windows for peak performance. They underscore the complex psychology of athletes dedicated to their craft while wrestling with real human vulnerabilities. Similarly, in filmmaking and acting, the drive to produce meaningful work carries both challenges and moments of deep joy and inspiration. Delving into MMA, Damon and Affleck offer insights into the intensity and authenticity of fighting, touching on training regimens, injury risks, and the psychological toll on fighters. They describe how true champions demonstrate a rare combination of problem-solving, calm, and mental tenacity amid extreme physical demands. They discuss the evolving rules around performance-enhancing drugs, noting controversies such as the TRT era in UFC and the ongoing use of peptides for injury recovery. They reflect on the brutal realities fighters face in and outside the cage, as well as the heroic moments that captivate audiences and inspire admiration. The guests touch on emerging treatments for PTSD, brain injuries, and addiction among soldiers, police officers, and athletes, referencing psychedelic-assisted therapies like ibogaine and psilocybin. They highlight the shifting cultural acceptance of these therapies, partially driven by high-profile veterans advocating for these alternatives. The conversation notes the harsh realities faced daily by law enforcement and military personnel, many suffering unseen psychological wounds. They emphasize the importance of addressing these issues compassionately and innovatively to support those in high-stress professions. Turning toward media and culture, Damon and Affleck discuss public distrust in mainstream news and the value of long-form, authentic conversations like podcasts that foster understanding across differing viewpoints. They lament the increasing polarization and oversimplification in public discourse, advocating for humility and openness to complexity in both personal and societal contexts. They express skepticism about talking points and emphasize the power of genuine dialogue to reveal true character and nuance, contrasting it with scripted media appearances. The guests explore the nature of human imperfection and the cultural challenges around forgiveness in a hyper-public digital age. They criticize the tendency to permanently cancel individuals for past mistakes without room for redemption. They argue that embracing complexity, empathy, and the capacity for people to evolve is essential for a healthy society. Drawing from personal and societal examples, they promote a more compassionate approach that allows for acknowledgement of wrongdoing and growth beyond it. Reflecting on films like The Sopranos, they discuss how complex antiheroes enrich storytelling by provoking empathy for flawed characters. This complexity mirrors real human behavior and challenges simplistic good versus bad narratives. They recount their own cinematic journeys, noting the joy of sharing great films with younger generations and witnessing their fresh perspectives. The impact of classic cinema and legendary actors remains a profound influence on their craft and worldview. When deciding on film projects, Damon and Affleck emphasize the importance of emotional resonance with the script and working with directors they respect. They acknowledge reading many scripts and the pivotal moment when a story truly moves them, which compels commitment despite inherent risks. They describe the difficulty of sustaining motivation during troubled productions and the inevitable vulnerability involved in releasing work to public scrutiny. The conversation addresses the evolution of film promotion, highlighting the limitations of traditional press junkets and media interviews that often feel perfunctory. They contrast this with the genuine engagement potential of podcasts and social media, which can more effectively reach and influence audiences. They note changing consumer behavior, including increased skepticism about marketing and the growing importance of trust and authenticity in recommendations. Rogan and guests all share a reverence for watching people dedicate themselves with passion to their craft, from acting and filmmaking to artisanal pursuits. They celebrate the hypnotic appeal that purpose and love for a discipline have not just for the practitioner, but for observers as well. This mutual engagement fuels creativity and human culture, inspiring others to seek their own meaningful endeavors. The iconic war film is discussed as a cinematic milestone for its unflinching, realistic portrayal of combat. Damon lauds director Steven Spielberg's choice to eliminate dialogue in the opening sequence to heighten immersion and tension. The technical innovation of using open-shutter cinematography added motion blur that enhanced the visceral feel. The emotional and sensory impact of the film remains influential in how war stories are told and experienced. The guests examine how extraordinary individuals, whether athletes, actors, or other performers, ignite in others a desire to improve and excel by embodying excellence. They acknowledge the personal cost often associated with achieving greatness, including intense pressure, sacrifice, and loneliness. Nonetheless, that pursuit and its rewards serve as a cultural engine driving aspiration and shared admiration. Discussing aging athletes, they highlight the tension between declining physical abilities and increasing experience and skills. They note that maintaining elite performance requires constant adaptation and that the emotional drama of this decline resonates deeply with audiences. Examples include prominent athletes dealing with this balance and the mental toll it entails. The conversation revisits Jon Jones and other fighters' careers, reflecting on talent, strategic intelligence, and controversies around doping. They describe Jones's exceptional fight IQ and physical prowess while acknowledging personal and legal troubles. The guests probe how such careers both inspire and caution, revealing the complexity of human excellence mingled with vulnerability. Damon and Affleck discuss filming emotionally charged scenes involving conflict between close friends, revealing the nuanced interplay of real-life relationships translating into authentic performances. Improvised moments and honest reactions often enhance the emotional weight beyond scripted material. They emphasize the necessity of trust, creative freedom, and responsiveness in shared scenes to achieve realism. The guests reflect on the power of portraying morally ambiguous characters to deepen storytelling and audience engagement. They appreciate narratives that resist clear-cut good versus evil dichotomies, fostering empathy and a more honest depiction of human behavior and motivations. This approach mirrors real life's nuances and enriches dramatic impact. They briefly touch upon parallels between audience expectations in music concerts and sports events, with audiences' reception of new work versus familiar hits. Artists and athletes navigate the tension of pleasing current fans while evolving their craft. This tension reminds them that cultural consumption involves complex emotional investments. The episode closes with reflections on how quality films and performances influence viewers profoundly. They express joy in sharing meaningful cinematic experiences with family and friends, highlighting that passion for storytelling endures alongside industry changes. They encourage continual engagement with art that moves and inspires beyond commercial and technological trends.